School, the Directorate of Marrakesh, the Regional Academy of Marrakesh, Safi. Good morning, all second-year baccalaureate students across Morocco. Dear viewers and followers, welcome to this new video lesson from the second-year English Baccalaureate Program series. Today we're going to deal with a new course and a new video lesson, which is going to be about the passive and the active voice. We're going to talk about the main transformations which take place when we actually transform a sentence from the active form into the passive form. For newcomers and new followers, if you want more videos, either the old and the previous ones or the most recent and most updated ones, do not hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is entitled English for Al-Bogham, as you can see on the screen. If you do not, of course, opt for YouTube, or you do not have a chance to follow me on YouTube, you can also log on to my Facebook page, which is entitled English for All, as you can see on the screen here. The next phase in this lesson is going to be about the use. We're going to say why is the passive transformation important and essential to talk about. So as you can see, we have three different pairs of sentences. We're going to read all of them and we will try to compare sentence 1 with sentence 2. So we have scientists have found a cure. A cure has been found. So please remember, I will ask you one question here. Somebody stole my bike. My bike was stolen. They granted me a scholarship. I was granted a scholarship. We have a second transformation, a second possibility in the third sentence. The question that I would like to ask you here is, what is the common feature between these sentences? What is common? What do they have in common? So when you read sentence number 1 and you compare it to sentence number 2, it's clear, okay? We have scientists have found a cure has been found. So it's clear that meaning does not change. When you transform an active sentence into a passive one, you keep the meaning. The question here is, if we can say what we want to say in the active, so why do we need the passive? Why do we need to use the passive? So number 1 or A. So here we have number 1, as you can see. The passive is important when you want to focus and emphasize the action more than who did it. So let's have a look at the sentence here. I will try to explain it later. So as you can see, scientists have found a cure. Emphasis, concentration. We try to concentrate on the fact that scientists are very important. The word scientists here gets more attention if you want. So scientists have found a cure. So we are trying to emphasize the word scientists. In the passive transformation, we do not give importance to the subject. We give importance to the action. We have a cure has been found. That's what is important to us in the passive transformation. So, has been found. This is the, if you want, outstanding, the primordial thing, the most essential thing. It's the action. So here we try to emphasize the subject, and here we try to emphasize the action. So we can simply say that the passive is used in order to give more emphasis to the action, not to the doer of the action. So we can simply write a very short summary here. So the passive is used to emphasize, to give more importance the action more than, who did the action. Simply more than the subject if you want, so that you can understand, let's say, the summary here. So the passive, or the rule if you want. The passive is used to emphasize, to concentrate, to focus on, to emphasize the action more than who did the action, more than the subject, or if you wanted the passive transformation, more than the agent. Let's have a look at sentence or the pair number 2. Somebody stole my bike. My bike was stolen. As you can see here, somebody here is not known. So when we do not have the subject, when we do not know the subject, then the passive is very useful. We can simply say, my bike was stolen. By somebody here is not important. It's not essential to the meaning of the sentence. So we will drop it, or we will move it, or we will not write it. So we can simply say that the passive is used when the subject is unknown. It means that the agent by who it's unknown. We don't know who actually performed the action, who has carried out the action. Let's move on to pair number 3. They granted me a scholarship. I was granted a scholarship. So they here, do you know who are we talking about? Yes, of course, they granted me a scholarship. We're talking about a scholarship. It simply means that the university board members granted me a scholarship. But it's not important to mention they, because when we talk about a scholarship, it is automatically about a university. We're talking about studying or university studies. So, or higher education if you want. So I was granted a scholarship. So they here is not important. We can simply come up with the rule and say the passive transformation is used when, let's say, the agent is not important. So the agent here is not important. The doer of the action is not important. They granted me a scholarship. I was granted a scholarship by them. So we cannot write by them. So we can simply understand that when we talk about a scholarship, we're talking about some kind of training, some kind of higher education, and so on and so forth. So these are the main, if you want, reasons why do we need to use the passive. Right now we're going to move to the next, if you want, phase, which is phase number 3 and almost, the final phase in the passive voice transformation. So it's all about tense transformation. So many students complain about the inability to actually transform the tense from its, let's say, active form into the passive. So if you could actually memorize all these transformations, you wouldn't have any problems transforming sentences from active into the passive. So as you can see, we have some kind of a short summary of all, let's say, English tenses, and how do we transform them from the active into the passive. So let's have a look at them, please. So we have the present tenses. So we're going to limit them here. We have the present simple. If we have a verb like do or does, we're going to take the verb to do as an example, okay, as a prototype to all other English verbs. So the present simple, if you have do or does, it becomes is, are, done. If the subject is singular, you can use is done. If it's plural, you can use are done. If you have the, if you want I pronoun, okay, the subject pronoun I, then we can also use okay. So you have to pay attention to these if you want differences. Present continuous. The present continuous is, are doing. It becomes is, are being done. So we always use the verb to be in the same tense that we have here. The verb to be in the same tense. Plus the past perfect of the verb to do. And you will notice that we use the past perfect of done, of do, in all tenses. You see? So it's almost the same structure. What changes is only the tense of the verb to be. We put it in the same form or the same tense of the active verb. So the present perfect, it can be have or has done. So we put the verb to be in the present perfect plus the past perfect of the verb to do, which is done. Have or has been done. Let's go to the past and limit it here. So we have the past simple, did. It becomes was or were. Again, if it's singular or plural. Was or were done. The past continuous, was or were, here we have was or were. I will rewrite it, sorry. Just if you allow me a few seconds. So we have was, were, doing. So this is the past continuous. Was, were, doing. It becomes was, were, being done. The past perfect. Had done. Here we do not have this problem or this intricacy of singular or plural because we have the same auxiliary with all pronouns. Had done, had been done. Had been done. The future, let's limit it here. Future simple. Will do. It becomes will be done. Future continuous or be going to, here we have be going to. Is, are going to do. It becomes is, are going to be done. Future perfect. Will have done. Will have been done. The modal verbs or modals, we're going to actually consider these three here. Can do, can be done. Must do, must be done. Modals should do, should be done. So these are the main tense transformations that we actually have in this lesson. Now we're going to proceed into making some, if you want, transformations, some exercise about transforming sentences from the active into the passive.